ion hydrogen. Alkali must be ion hydroxide. Okay, next, what you have to focus to? Basicity of acid. Okay, when we talk about basicity of acid, what is basicity of acid? Basicity of acid is calculated based on number of hydrogen produced per molecule of acid when ionizes in water. Okay, you have to be very careful. Sometimes they will ask you to define what is monoprotic acid and what is diprotic acid and what is triprotic acid. Daripada perkataan mono tu, you kena tahu mono tu adalah satu, di tu adalah dua, tri tu adalah tiga. Jadi bila kita cakap pasal monoprotic, diprotic maupun triprotic, dia fokus kepada bilangan ion hidrogen yang diion oleh satu molekul asid apabila dia mengion dalam air. So, students, you must know example of monoprotic acid. Now, for monoprotic acids, examples are nitric acid. Beside nitric acid, we also can use hydrochloric acid. Okay, so these are the very common monoprotic acid. One is hydrochloric acid, one is nitric acid. This is for strong acid. Another one is ethanoic acid. Remember, ethanoic acid is still monoprotic acid, but this is a weak monoprotic acid. Now, when we talk about monoprotic acid, you have to be quite alert here that you have to be considering on the strength of the acid. Apabila kita cakap pasal monoprotic acid, pelajar, anda mesti kena kenal apakah jenis acid yang boleh diklasifikasikan sebagai monoprotic acid. Nitric acid, asid hidroklorik dan asid ethanoik. Ingat, asid ethanoik adalah monoprotic acid. Mengapa? Sebab walaupun dia separa mengion dalam air, dia masih menghasilkan 1 mol hydrogen ion per molecule of the acid. Okay, now I want to show you on ionization equation. How to write ionization equation. Apa beza ionization equation for strong acid and weak acid? Now, let's say the question come out asks you to write for ionization equation. For ethanoic acid, hydrochloric acid, or even nitric acid lah. Okay, if it's ethanoic acid, students remember this is weak acid. So when we weak acid is partially ionizes. When it's partially ionizes, your arrow must be two-way. When you write your ionization equation, please be careful. You have to use two-way because of partially ionizes. And then for weak acid, remember only this hydrogen will be ionizes. The rest of it will be negative. Okay. So the product of ionization, what you get is CH3COO, the whole thing going to be negative, and the hydrogen ion will be here. So as you can see here, one molecule of the acid produces 1 mole of hydrogen ion. That's why it's called as monoprotic acid, but it's a weak monoprotic acid. When come to hydrochloric acid ionization equation, we will write only one-way arrow. Why one-way arrow? Because hydrochloric acid is a strong acid undergoing a complete ionization. So you will write it like this. So when you write the ionization equation, please be careful. So far, okay, any questions on ionization, basicity?
Okay, teacher.
Okay, so remember for monoprotic, remember you have 3 acids, nitric acid, hydrochloric acid, and ethanoic acid. Okay, the difference is the strength. Now when come to diprotic acid, there's only one acid, that is sulfuric acid. And remember students, always when involving sulfuric acid, there'll be 2 mole of hydrogen ions are produced. So when it's 2 mole of hydrogen ion, even this one you can relate to neutralization. Number of water molecules formed will be 2 moles because of 2 mole of hydrogen ion ionized. Okay, when come to triprotic is ethanoic acid. Okay, so next you have to know about alkali. All these students get confused with what is alkali and base. I would like to know, if I put it up like this, can you see? Is it clear?
Yes, teacher.
Yes, teacher.
Okay. Now, when it comes to base and alkali, what's the difference? Base, anything that can react with acid. Remember, reaction between the chemical substance and acid can produce salt and water. Then that is called base. That is called base. But alkali is the soluble base. That means they must be soluble in water. Not all bases are soluble in water. Only alkali are soluble in water. Okay. Now, how to differentiate which one is base and alkali? For your fine info, most of the metal oxide and metal hydroxide, all the metal oxide and metal hydroxide are base. Only certain metal oxide and metal hydroxide which are soluble in water, which is then we call it as alkali. Okay, next you have to know about acid reactions. Acid reactions are very important. This is the basic chemical reaction, students, you must know. If you don't know the basic chemical reaction, you will be having difficulties of writing equation. So, pastikan anda tahu tindak balas asid. Tindak balas asid ada 4. Yang pertama sekali, asid dan alkali bertindak balas menghasilkan garam dan air. Itu adalah common lah antara dua. Selain daripada itu, asid akan bertindak balas dengan logam reaktif. What type of logam reactive? Like magnesium, aluminium, zinc, all that can react readily with acid. So dia akan menghasilkan garam dan hydrogen gas. So obviously student make mistake with the gas. If the reaction is between acid and metal only, remember metal only, then it will releases hydrogen gas. If it reacts with metal oxide, then only it releases water. Okay, let me show you here in equation. For example, let's say hydrochloric acid react with zinc. Another one, hydrochloric acid react with zinc oxide. Okay, I'll give you a clue here for you to know the thing. Of course, all the chemical reaction of acid, students, it must form salt. And they will form another product, depends on the reactions. Like now, you can see the salt always formed from the metal and the negative ion from the acid. So you have to combine the metal and the negative ion from the acid. So metal and the negative ion, you react. The salt formed will be zinc chloride. Bagi sesiapa yang mengalami masalah untuk menulis persamaan kimia, tolong belajar ya sekarang. Cara dia, asid bertindak balas dengan logam ataupun logam oksida ya. Jadi, apa saja tindak balas asid, dia mesti akan menghasilkan garam. That's the basic. Jadi, cara pembentukan garam datang daripada logam bergabung dengan negative ion asid tersebut. So, you get the salt. Now, what's the other product? Apakah bahan lain yang terhasil selain daripada garam? How to know? As you can see here, when you combine zinc with chloride, you get zinc chloride already. Here the left part is hydrogen, right? That should be the hydrogen gas. Okay, like now you can see hydrogen and water is mixed up. That means this must be water. For those who confused and those who unable to memorize, please follow this technique so that you know how to write your equations. Remember, tindak balas bersama asid dengan logam maupun logam oksida. Jadi you ambil logam tu gabungkan dengan negatif ion asid itu. You bentukkan garam dulu. Lepas tu you tengok apa yang left out. Kalau hidrogen saja, jadi gas hidrogen. Kalau hidrogen dengan oksigen yang tertinggal, maka itu adalah molekul air. Then you balance it. Clear? Okay, then I show you for carbonate now. Tadi saya tunjuk untuk asid dengan logam dan logam oksida. Macam mana nak bezakan. Okay. Now let's see you're doing for hydrochloric acid with calcium carbonate. Ada soalan ke? Anyone having any questions? So far can follow?
Yes, teacher.
Yes, teacher.
Okay. Now, for hydrochloric acid with calcium carbonate, right? Same thing, students. What you do is always the garam, the negative ion from the acid must come out. So over here, what's the positive ion? Calcium. So these two going to gabung akan membentuk calcium chloride. And then you can see the remainder here is the carbonate and the hydrogen. So remember, hydrogen and carbonate will form H2O, CO2. So the byproduct here will be H2O, CO2. So how you balance up, you can see calcium and chloride must be 2. So you balance up with 2 here. Can you get it? So if in case, because of you are undergoing some tension, you are stressed out doing your exam, you can counter check on the product form. Adakah anda tulis produk yang dihasil daripada tindak balas asid itu dengan betul ataupun tidak? So, can Now, so ingat 4 tindak balas yang saya beritahu tadi ya. Acid with metal. Another one is metal oxide. Okay. Another one is metal carbonate. And another one, the complementary for both is with alkali. So remember, all that must form salt. But the difference you can find here is for the metal must be hydrogen byproduct. Metal oxide, you can see the oxide, so water. Carbonate, can you see carbonate? So it must be carbon dioxide and water. And alkali must be water, solvent. Okay, so tindak balas ni penting. If you are not clear with the tindak balas, then it will affect your equation and the understanding of the reactions. Okay, now we go for alkali. Alkali, very commonly question is acid and alkali. So you don't worry about the others. Others you still have to know lah. The very important is with ammonium salt. When alkali react with ammonium salt, it will form 3 also, salt, water and ammonia. Now let's look at this question now. So, what is meant by acid is a definition questions. So, anyone, please answer it in the chat box now. What's the answer for this? You may respond in the chat, students. What is meant by acid? You can respond it in Bahasa or in English.
Bahan kimia yang mengayon dalam air menghasilkan ion hidrogen.
Yeah. So ingat ya, bahan kimia mengayon dalam air menghasilkan ion hydrogen. Chemical substance that ionizes in water and produce hydrogen ion. Okay, now Roman 2. Which ion enables an acid to show its acidic property? So the keyword is acid. If it's acid, what ion?
Ion hidrogen.
Yes, ion hydrogen. You can write ion hydrogen or you can write the formula H+. Acceptable because it's nyatakan or state. Unless soalan kata namakan, then you have to spell out. Now go for this. Namakan acid P, namakan acid Q. Now I go back to the table. Who want to try? You can try it out.
Acid P, hydrochloric acid.
P, hydrochloric acid. Mengapa you kata P, hydrochloric acid?
Because the
Bukan
degree of
ethanoic acid.
ionization.
Because it has a high degree of ionization.
Yes, very important. As you can see, there they have given you degree of ionization. Apabila darjah pengionan dia tinggi, maka kepekatan ion dia hasilkan pun tinggi. Understand or not? So when the degree of ionization is higher, the number of hydrogen ion or hydroxide ions depends on the substance. Like now, this is acid. So you must know when the degree of ionization is higher, then that should be a higher strength of acid. So we have to go for strong acid. So monoprotic acid, kita tak terima ethanoic acid di sini. Manakala dengan R, how about R? Can you suggest to me the name of acid for R now?
Ethanoic acid.
Yes. Why ethanoic acid? Because degree of ionization is low. When the degree of ionization is low, that means that should be weak acid. Remember that. Okay? Don't get confused. And how about Q?
Sulfuric acid.
Yeah. The keyword here is diprotic. Diprotic, definitely there's only one, sulfuric acid. Now, we go for next question. Which of the following is a strong acid?
Nitric acid.
Okay, why you choose nitric acid? The rest of the acid are weak acid. Only nitric acid is a strong acid. Okay, go for question number 3. Can you see the question? Is it clear? All of you can
Yes,
read?
teacher.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, suggestion of answer? I want all of you to respond in the chat box, please. If you turn on your mic, only 1 or 2 can respond. The rest unable to respond. I want all of you to respond in the chat. Give me your answer in the chat.
Teacher. Teacher, please scroll down in the chat, teacher.
Scroll down.
In the chat.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry. I got variation of answer here. Maxwell. Why you answered B? Yeah? Maxwell? Okay, students, you can see, right, from this reaction, right? I told you already just now. If it's a water, salt and water, there's a possibility it's either metal oxide or alkali. But you see your substance X. Copper 2 oxide. If let's say you react hydrochloric with acid with copper 2 oxide, can or not? Reaction occurs or not? You will get copper 2 chloride and water. Correct? Hello, students.
Yes,
Yes.
teacher.
Yes.
Copper 2 oxide react with hydrochloric acid. Reaction occurs. Remember, for copper, copper alone doesn't react with acid. If copper in the form of oxide or hydroxide, reaction occurs. So, B can be acceptable. Another one, look at D. Look at D. Sodium hydroxide with acid, form salt and water. Possible? Possible or not? Sodium hydroxide is alkali, right?
Oh, teacher.
Alkali react with
Yes.
acid.
Yes, teacher.
So the answer here will be, is it only one answer? Is it will be one answer or 2 answers, or both also can be acceptable? What's the best
Good.
answer?
D.
What's the best? Yes, the best answer for your paper 1, you have to be very careful. Even they give you 4 options for the answers, maybe 2 looks like about correct, but you have to choose the best one. Okay, the best one here will be sodium hydroxide in reaction with the acid, because acid and alkali will form salt and water. And why we didn't choose copper 2 oxide? Even copper 2 oxide is a metal oxide, react with water, react with acid will form salt and water, but it's a less reactive metal. So you have to go for the best choice. The best, that means the highest chance the reaction will occur for the way what they wanted. So the best solution will be sodium hydroxide. So paper 1, students, you have to be very careful when you choose your answers. Okay, now we go for pH value. Now, pH value, we have the formula to follow. So, how you calculate pH? pH must be negative log with the concentration of hydrogen ion. If it's POH, we go for the hydroxide. When we use pH, when we use POH, what do you mean by lavender? Not copper to oxide causes less reactive metal. No, copper is already less reactive metals, but less reactive metal with the reaction with acid will be slow. So the reaction is not the best that we can get according to the equation given. So that is what I meant just now. When you have the option of alkali in reaction with acid and another one is less reactive metal with the acid, the best choice will be alkali with acid. Get it? So I didn't say copper dioxide cannot react with acid. It will react. But when you go for the best choice, we look for the best, the definite reaction we can happen. Okay. So now we go for pH and POH. So remember students, pH, the substance we get must be based on concentration of hydrogen ions. If they give you alkali and they request for pH, then you have to use the last formula here. pH, to get the pH, you have to minus off with the 14. 14 minus with the POH. So remember, POH is only used for alkali. Now, I want you to look at this question now. Look at the question number 5. Try to do it now and respond in the chat. What answer you're getting? Only for question number 5. We do only one question here. As you can see here, they ask you to determine the pH value for the solution of barium hydroxide. So students, when the question on pH, the first step you have to do is identify the solution. Barium hydroxide is alkali. If it's alkali, then you should know I must get my POH first. Okay. Now, the concentration of the solution given is 0.05. So kindly do and respond in the chat now. How many of you unable to do it? You need help? Raise up your head. And how many of you don't know how to do question number 5? You need help? Okay, I can also see some variation in the answer. Some have responded A, some have responded B. So let's do it together now. Okay, so the first step, what you should do now here is look at the solution. You know this is alkali. Alkali means must be POH must be determined first. And then you see the concentration given is 0.05. So first of all, you must know barium hydroxide, when it ionizes, it will form barium ion and hydroxide ions balance up. So 1 mole of barium hydroxide produces 2 mole of hydroxide ions. If the concentration of the solution given is 0.05, then the concentration of the hydroxide ion form will be how much?
Times 2, teacher.
Yes, you have to times 2 because the concentration of the hydroxide ion produced by per molecule is double. So when you times 2, what you get?
0.1.
Yes, you get 0.1. So
0.1.
your POH, kindly calculate your POH now. Negative log 0.1. Anyone? Please respond. What answer you get?
1.
1. So to calculate the pH, what you have to do is 14 minus the POH, which is 1, equivalent to 30. So what's the answer?
C.
Are you clear?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, so students, when come to calculation for POH and pH, first thing, remember, determine whether it's acid or alkaline. If it's alkaline, must calculate pOH first. If it's pH, no problem, you get direct answer for pH. For acid lah. Okay. Now, so any question regarding pH and pOH? Are you clear? Kindly consider on the number of hydrogen ion and hydroxide ion ionizers by the substance. And then please do the comparison for the concentration of the ions. Then only you include inside your negative log. Okay. Shall we move on to the next?
Yes,
Okay,
teacher.
the next.
Teacher.
Yeah.
Why do we need to minus 14?
Why we need to minus 14? Okay. Student, please look at this formula. If it's pH, it's only for acid, right? You get negative log hydrogen ion, you get the answer already. But pOH, actually, what's the connection for pH and pOH? pH must be the 14 minus with the pOH. Barium hydroxide is alkali. Alkali must be pOH. So how to get a pH for alkali? You must minus 14 with the pOH. Understand now? Student?
Yes.
Who asked? Are you clear now? You see the substance is alkali, hydroxide. If it's hydroxide, must be pOH. So to get the pH for the alkali, 14 minus the pOH. Get it? Hello, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the next part you have to focus is the relationship between pH value and the concentration of hydrogen ions. Now, when it comes to relationship between the concentration of hydrogen ion and pH value, remember they are opposite direction. When the concentration of hydrogen ion increase, pH value must decrease for acid. Acid, remember they are opposite direction. Hydrogen increase, pH must decrease. But when it comes to alkaline, they are go in the same direction. When the hydroxide increase, pH also will increase. Okay, get it? Maxwell, what do you mean? The question want to find the pH of pOH. Maxwell?
I mean, the question wanted us to find the pH of pOH, which is the barium hydroxide, right?
Okay, the question is asked you to find the pH, but the solution given is alkali. Whenever solution is given is alkali, you can't get the pH directly. You have to find the pOH first and use the pOH minus off with the 14 to get the pH. Understand now, Maxwell?
Yeah.
Okay. So regarding the relationship between the concentration and the pH value is very important. So those who don't know how to know the relationship, remember acid direction is opposite. If hydrogen increase, pH decrease. But alkali, they go in the same direction. If hydroxide increase, pH also must increase. Remember that. Okay. So next, you have to know about the strength of acid and base. Okay, when we talk about the strength of acid and base with the pH value, because this is very important. Okay, I hope all of you can see it clearly now. Are you able to view it? Is it clear?
Yes, teacher. Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
teacher.
Yes.
This diagram is very important. Please be focused. Because most of the questions on acid or alkali will come out in relation to this. How? Okay. Now, as you can see the pH scale, first of all, you must know your pH scale doesn't start with 1. Most of the students will get confused. pH scale start with 1 to 14 or 0 to 14. Remember, your pH scale start from 0 to 14. This one also can come out for your paper 1. Okay. Next, what's the indicator for pH values we use? If the pH value is 7, neutral. Any pH value less than 7, acid, more than 7 is alkaline. That's the general fact about pH value and the solution of acid and base you have learned. Now, as a chemistry students, you should be able to differ the pH value given to the strength of the acid and alkaline. As you're going towards pH 0, what happened to the acid? The acid becomes strong acid. As you're moving towards 14, remember the N here is strong. Strong alkali, strong acid. So halfway middle here, the starting from the 7 going to the 0, like 4, 5, 6, 7, 6.9, sorry, 6.9, that's considered the weak acid. Anything that goes from 7 up, like 7.1 up to the 10 something, then is weak alkali. Okay, the one who are now going towards 14, that should be the strong alkali. Okay, what's the meaning or how to define it? Whether it's a strong acid or weak acid, you have to talk about degree of ionization. If it's a strong, high degree of ionization or ionizes completely, you can use. When it ionizes completely, how's the concentration? High concentration of hydrogen ions. So what type of strong acid? You must know hydrochloric acid, nitric acid, sulfuric acid are strong acid. Okay, for weak acid, what's the meaning of weak acid? Ionizes partially or degree of ionization in water is low. Okay, when the degree of ionization in water is low or partially ionizes, the concentration must be low concentration of hydrogen ion. Example, ethanoic acid. It seems you have already finished on carbon compounds. You should know all carboxylic acid are weak acid. Okay, now we go for alkali. Same thing. Weak alkali, that means a low degree of ionization. That means ionizes partially. So weak alkali, we have only one. Remember, ammonia solution. So ammonia solution is weak alkali. When come to strong alkali, there's only two. Sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide for your level. So are you clear? Any
Yes.
questions?
Yeah. No.
Okay, let's
Yes,
look at
teacher.
this question now. Kindly answer it now. Really, what we have studied just now. Which of the following statement is true about acid X and acid Y? What's the best answer?
B.
I would like to see some responses in the chat. There are so many of you, about 300 over respondent here, students, but I can see only very little one, just a few only responding. The others are doing murder. Please respond. Learn. When you answer only, you know whether you answered it correctly or not. You can, no worries whether your answer is correct or not, students. You are learning, you can learn from your mistake. Try to answer it now. I'm waiting for your response. I want all of you to respond, please, in the chat.
Teacher, the answer is B.
B or D? Boy or donkey?
Boy, teacher, boy, boy.
Okay, can you explain why boy? Student, just now you voice it out right, B. So can you explain why is boy?
Teacher, because the pH value acid boy is one which is it is strong acid, it will ionize strongly in water. While acid X is 4.8, as the pH value increase, the acid will ionize partially in water.
Okay, let's check it out whether the answer given by your friend is correct or not. Because just now I saw there's one or two students responded C. So I also had received a variation in the answer. So let's discuss about it now. Okay. Now, let's look at this. So what is the important information? You can see here, monoprotic acid. Okay. This is diprotic acid. Now, I told you already, diprotic acid definitely is a
pH
strong
value.
acid. Right? Now, monoprotic, as I told you, it can be a weak acid or strong acid. Look at the pH. pH 4.8. 4.8. pH is higher or lower? High pH or low pH?
Lower.
pH rendah ke? Kalau for acid. Untuk acid saja. As you can see here, your pH scales 0 to 7, right? That all is acid, isn't it? So I told you already, as you going to 0 is strong acid. If something nearby to 7 must be weak acid, right? So 4.8 is somewhere around here. So that goes under weak acid. If weak acid must be partially ionizes. Okay, get it? So you must understand this concept first. You see this pH 1 is strong acid lah. Sebab pH dia rendah. Kalau 4.8, pH dia tinggi berbanding dengan 1. Okay, so this must be weak acid. Inilah analisis yang you perlu buat dulu sebelum you pergi cari pernyataan yang betul. Kalau konsep awal salah, maka pernyataan you nak cari pun akan menjadi salah juga. Okay, now let's go for the A. Kalau weak acid, how about the concentration of hydrogen ion? High or low?
Concentration.
Low concentration. If it's 1 and it's a strong acid, how's the concentration of hydrogen ion?
High concentration.
High.
This is the analysis lah. Macam inilah analisis yang perlu anda buat sebelum anda menjawab soalan. Okay, now, so acid X has high concentration of hydrogen ion than acid Y. Pastikan anda lihat pada acid yang betul ya. Jangan get confused. So, X is weak acid, you already know this is low. Tapi dia kata higher. Betul ke?
Salah.
Salah. Okay, lihat pada B sekarang. Dia kata ionizes partially. This one ionizes completely. Betul ke?
Betul.
Weak, partially, strong, completely. Okay, B boleh diterima. Tapi kita masih kena check. Don't straight away take the B ya. As I told you, check for paper 1, they'll give you 2 statements is about the correct one, but you have to choose the best one. Okay? Di sini ada C saja ke? Sampai C saja. Okay, never mind. Now, let's go for C now. Dia kata, X react with metal carbonate while Y does not. Betul ke?
Salah.
Dua-dua pun adalah apa?
Wrong, bro.
Tak kisah dia strong ke weak, asalkan dia acid, dia boleh bertindak balas dengan metal carbonate. So, ini pun adalah salah. Siapa yang pilih C tadi, tolong ya, alert. Kita tak kisah dia strong acid ke weak acid. Asalkan dia acid, dia boleh bertindak balas dengan logam karbonat. Tak ada halangan. Okay, so the best answer will be B. Now, let's go for this. Write your answer in the chat now, all of you. A is what? B is what? Based on your understanding. They said both acid are monoprotic. But now, look at the pH. Take this opportunity to learn. You must respond in the chat. When you answer, then only you will learn. Don't just keep quiet. Okay. So I can see some of you has responded hydrochloric acid. Dekat sini saya nak ingatkan satu benda when you writing your formulas. Please be careful. Okay. Kalau hydrochloric acid must be Cl. L awak mesti huruf kecil. Cannot use HCl. This is wrong. Even in your amali, many of you have done this mistake. When you write your equation, many of the students, they have done it this way. They put capital L. Just because of capital L, they lose their mark. So writing formulas, make sure you follow exactly as it is. The cases of the letters are very much important. Okay. Yeah. So for A, you choose hydrochloric acid. Okay. Beside hydrochloric acid, you also can choose nitric acid. Okay. Now for B, ethanoic acid because it's a weak acid. Kitana, why you choose sulfuric acid? Kitana, can you see here they mention monoprotic acid? So if you write sulfuric acid is reject, sulfuric acid is diprotic acid. So please be careful. When you read your question, highlight the important stuff, important words here. So when you read, what the important words here? Both acid are monoprotic. Itu adalah paling penting. Okay, Eva, you asked me since the question asked to suggest name, we are not supposed to use formula, right? Okay, they said suggest the name. Bila ada perkataan nama, must spell out. Cannot use formula. So for this, you have to spell out. If you use formula, wrong. You won't get marks. And yes, you can, you see, Maxwell, nitric acid for B. Why nitric acid for B? Kan tadi saya dah cakap dekat sini. Strong acid, hydrochloric acid, nitric acid, and sulfuric acid. You cannot choose sulfuric acid because it's a diprotic acid. So your option of answer for A just now is only two, hydrochloric acid or nitric acid. Understand? Weak acid is only one, Maxwell, ethanoic acid. Okay? Now, we move on to the next.
Teacher,
Yes.
if wrong spelling means will cut marks, is it?
Yes. Wrong spelling, you won't get marks. So, name, you must write it correctly according to the correct spelling. And one more thing, students, you have to bear in your mind. For example, let's say they ask you to write for this. This is your substance. They ask you to name this substance. So if you write copper oxide, is wrong. You have to write copper 2 oxide. So you have to be alert with the Roman number. So when we use Roman number, remember the metal. If it is a transition elements, remember transition metals, then the substance must be specified with the Roman number. Okay, get it? So please use your periodic table. Your periodic table will be provided for your paper too. So if you're not sure whether want to put Roman number or not, look at the metal, where is the location. If it's a transition metal, then you have to specify the oxidation number of it. Get it?
Okay, teacher.
Any questions? Kitna, antara sulfuric acid and apa tu? HIDT, what you're trying to say? Kitna, are you there? Can you turn on your mic? Oh, nitric acid and hydrochloric acid, yang mana paling tinggi? Okay, hydrochloric acid, sulfuric acid and hydrochloric acid, mana pH tinggi? Again, I'm going back to this. Okay, sulfuric acid and hydrochloric acid. I told you already which one is the, I think I show you here. Okay, hydrochloric acid, sulfuric acid, right? Now, Kirtana, are you there? Can you turn on your mic, girl?
Yes, teacher. I'm here.
Okay, Kirtana, can you see ionization equation? Like hydrochloric acid got how many hydrogen? One only, right? For sulfuric acid got how many?
2.
How many hydrogen there?
2.
2. Eesh. Sorry. Okay. Now, can you tell me which one have the higher concentration of hydrogen ion? Kitana?
Sulfuric.
Sulfuric acid. So, how about the pH value for sulfuric acid? Must be much lower, right? Correct or not? If I give you pH 1, pH 4, or pH 3, for example, pH 3. So, sulfuric acid must have pH what?
3.
pH 3.
Oh, 1.
pH 1. Remember, the concentration higher, pH must be lower. Now, for hydrochloric acid, even is a strong acid, but pH won't be 1. Now, the pH must be 3. So, sulfuric acid and hydrochloric acid, impossible to have the same pH value because the concentration of hydrogen ion differs. Get it? Can follow?
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Now, we go for...
Excuse me, teacher.
Yes.
I want to ask a question. Phosphoric acid is 3PO4. Then why it is a weak acid?
Okay, phosphoric acid will comes under triprotic acid, but still is a weak acid because not fully ionizes. Phosphoric acid not fully ionizes. Some of the phosphoric acid still remain as molecules. Putri tanya apa?
Thank you,
Nitric
teacher.
acid and hydrochloric acid. Okay, Fajar, nitric acid and hydrochloric acid, dua-dua pun strength dia sama. Kalau concentration sama, mesti pH sama. Faham ya, Putri? Kalau concentration dia beza, maka pH akan berubah. Kalau kepekatan dia sama, maka pH value dia sama sebab kekuatan asid dia sama. Dua-dua pun monoprotic. Tak ada beza. Boleh ke? Okay, sekarang kita pergi kepada concentration of aqueous solution from gram per mole per dm3. I want to know, anyone having problem with this calculation or not? Do you need help? If anyone need help on this, you don't know when to when to divide, when to multiply. You have this problem, kindly raise up your hand. If you don't have problem, I will skip. I'll move on to the next. Okay, so now untuk conversion kan,
Cikgu.
Yeah. Yes.
Messages ada beberapa soalan.
Mir, so even if it's different chemicals, same concentration, same pH value. Mir H has sebenarnya bukan ya. Okay, I do a summary here. If it's a strong acid, kalau sulfuric acid, hydrochloric acid, nitric acid, kalau dua ini kepekatan sama, the concentration same, pH value same. You know why? Because both are
monoprotic.
Apa dia? Any problem
Monoprotic.
Both are monoprotic acid. Dua-dua menghasilkan kepekatan hidrogen yang sama. Kalau kepekatan asid itu sama, maka pH value mesti sama lah. Okay? Unless kepekatan berbeza, maka dia ikut kepada kepekatan pH value dia. But when come to sulfuric acid, student, here kepekatan hydrogen ion must double, you know. Walaupun dia guna kepekatan yang sama dengan hydrochloric acid and nitric acid, tapi pH value dia mesti rendah. pH value mesti rendah. Sebab kepekatan ion hidrogen yang dihasilkan adalah tak sama dengan kepekatan hidrogen ion yang dihasilkan di sini. Katakan saya guna semua ini 0.1 molar per dm3. Tapi berdasarkan kepada kepekatan ini And the acid here, let's say I'm comparing hydrochloric acid and sulfuric acid, pH dia tetap tak sama sebab kekuatan asid dia berbeza. Kalau sulfuric acid dia mesti double. Kepekatan dia sudah double. Not 0.1, this will be 0.2 already. But here, this will be 0.1. So we follow the concentration of hydrogen ion. Understand? So when the concentration is higher, I tell you already, acid must be bertentangan arah. Jadi pH value mesti rendah. Faham ke sekarang, Mir?
Faham. Okay, cikgu.
Okay. And then Umar,
Soalan cikgu.
acid carbonic is monoprotic acid. So it's a weak acid or strong acid. Okay, this one also I repeat back. Like all carbonic acid, let's say COOH, right? All carbonic acid. When they ionizes, remember, only the last H will be ionized to hydrogen ion. The rest of it will be negative ions. So some of the hydrogen still remains there. It's not completely ionizes. So remember, all carbonic acid, sorry, carboxylic acid. Carboxylic, I'm talking about carboxylic acid here. So all carboxylic acid, okay, is a weak acid. Now you're asking about carbonic acid, C2CO3. Now carbonic acid is still weak acid because even it ionizes two hydrogen ions, but some of it still remains in the form of molecules. So carbonic acid, phosphoric acid is a weak acid. So students, I don't want you to get worried about all this. You know why? For your level, what you should be focus more on diprotic acid, focus on sulfuric acid. Remember, you know this hydrochloric acid, nitric acid. These are the acid you have to focus to. Beside that, carboxylic acid. Remember, this is weak acid. Okay, this is all strong acid. But the special of this is sulfuric acid is a diprotic acid. And the rest of the acids, all of them are monoprotic acid. Get yourself very clear about this. Only this is your scope for your SPM. Get it? Can?
Can, teacher.
So what type of acid is a benzoic acid? Benzoic, anything OIC acid you see is a weak acid. What's the difference between molarity and concentration? Okay. What's the difference between molarity and concentration? Molarity, you see mole per dm cube. So we call molarity. Concentration, usually we write in gram per dm cube. This is called concentration. Get it? Okay, students, can you give me what is the formula, the basic formula you have learned for number of moles? Mass divide
Mass
with
or molar mass. Molar mass.
So when you do this, you get number of mole, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I want you to look at this unit, mass to mole. To convert mass to mole, what you should do, the intermediate value here is molar mass only, right? Can you see that? Now I want to convert my gram to mole. So what I should do?
MV or 1000 also.
No. We don't use MB over 1000. We are going to use this formula only. This is the basic formula you're going to use here. I put for you mole equals to gram per molar mass. We got to use this formula only. So now I want to convert gram to mole. So what I should do? Times with molar mass, right?
Yeah.
If mole to gram, see mole to gram, what I should do?
Divide molar mass.
That's how. You don't need to memorize the formula. Don't memorize. You use this basic, you can do the conversion. If mole to gram, you see, I know mole, I want to find the gram. So I times with the molar mass. Times with molar mass. Okay. If I want to, I have the gram, I want to find the mole. So I divide with the molar mass. So you can use this formula to find out the operation, whether it's divide or multiply. You don't memorize. You memorize, you will get confused. Understand now? Students, can or not?
Can, teacher.
Okay, this one, you see, I know mole, I want to find mass. So I know the mole, I want to find mass. So what I should do? Times, right? If it's mass to mole, then you divide with molar mass. You use this formula only to determine which one, whether divide or times. If you memorize, you'll get confused. Understand this concept. The measurement done for molarity is based on number of moles. For concentration, we did based on mass. That's all. Okay. I have few questions because we are running short of time. I have few more things to do revision with y'all, so we're not going to try out on the questions lah. We go for the revision first. Okay, this one. Standard solution. First of all, we must know what is standard solution. Definition is important. What is standard solution? Make sure you know the definition of standard solution, student. What is standard solution? The concentration of the solution which is accurately known. Okay, standard solution, there are two ways of preparation. One, we prepare from the solute. That means from the solid, you prepare the solution. Another standard solution preparation is from the concentrated liquid, you dilute it, get another less concentrated solution. So there are two ways of preparation for standard solution. This one, please focus. This one can come out for SC. Okay, so there are 4 steps you have to follow for standard solution preparation if you are preparing it from solid. So anything solid, you want to dissolve and prepare a solution, which are standard solution. What the first step you have to do is you have to calculate the mass. Now, how to calculate the mass, students? Usually they will mention to you what's the molarity and the volume of the solution, right? So use the molarity and the volume, calculate the number of moles. You use N equals to MV. So once you know the number of moles, use the number of moles, calculate the mass. This one I show you with. Okay. Now, for anything that you're going to calculate for solute, remember the first one is you use the formula N equals to MV. This one, you use the formula N equals to MV. Okay. Once you know M and the V, you calculate the number of moles. Use the number of moles, then do the calculation for mass. So for mass, first one, you use N equals to MV, right? So you get the number of mole already. Then once you know the number of mole, use the formula mole equals to mass divided by molar mass. These are the two formula you have to use for your calculation, remember. So from this, you can calculate the mass. So mass is calculated from number of moles times with the molar mass of the substance. So from there, you know already how much mass is required. Then you weigh exactly the mass. Can you get it? So this is your step 1. Use the molarity and volume, calculate the number of moles. Once you know the number of moles, find the mass. How to calculate the mass? Number of moles times with the molar mass of the solution. Molar mass, usually they might give you, or you have to calculate by yourself. So, okay. Now, so upon calculate the mass, use weigh exactly. The word weigh exactly is very important, and using electronic balance. If it's your essay, you have to mention it using electronic balance. Okay, and then after you weigh, what you do? Dissolve in a little distilled water. And this, the bracket one is very important. Dissolve it carefully and make sure it's completely dissolved. Okay, then you transfer. Okay, for your transfer, you will use volumetric flask. Make sure you mention the volume of the solution you want to prepare. If let's say they say you are required to prepare 250 ml of sodium hydroxide, then I have to use 250 cm cube volumetric flask. So you have to mention the volume of volumetric flask in your procedure. Okay, so carefully transfer the solution into the respective volume of the volumetric flask, and then you will rinse and fill by using the filter funnel. Okay, make sure all is transferred completely into the volumetric flask, and then add the water up to the calibration mark. You just have to mention this. Add distilled water until the calibration mark. Then close with the stopper and invert the volumetric flask to get a homogeneous solution. Are you clear? Are you clear with the steps? If you are preparing with solid, calculation is important. Calculation, make sure you show your calculation got marks. Then weigh, dissolve it with enough water, transfer to the calibration mark, transfer to the volumetric flask according to the volume, and then add water to the calibration mark. Can you remember the steps? Hello?
Okay, teacher.
Now, this one, dilution method. Dilution method is very easy. Dilution means from concentrated solution, you want to prepare a dilute solution. Then we use dilution method. So for dilution method, we use pipette. Remember the tool we use. If you are preparing a solid to a solution, you must use electronic balance to weigh the mass, then dissolve it. If from concentrated solution, you want to prepare a dilute solution, we use pipette. So your pipette volume follow the V1. Your pipette, you have to mention the volume of the pipette you use. Follow your V1, the original solution. Like now, use the pipette to obtain how much volume and the concentration of the acid. Transfer it into the volumetric flask. Again, volumetric flask, follow V2. Okay, this one, what you have to be careful here is M1, V1 equals to M2, right? So when you write, make sure your V1 must follow the volume of the pipette. Your pipette must follow the V1. Your V2 must be your volumetric flask volume. So when you write your procedure, please be careful with this. So for dilution method, it's very easy. You just pipette using the respective volume of the pipette, the solution into the volumetric flask. And once you transfer, add the distilled water up to the calibration mark. Only 3 steps needed. Okay. So this is an example of question for dilution. Okay, so far any questions? Sure, I will share this slide with y'all. Why add distilled water? Because you want to do dilution work. You have to add water, then only the concentration will be less, will be diluted. So for standard solution, anything you want to prepare, at the end, we will use volumetric flask. That will be the V2. You must add water up to the calibration mark. Remember, calibration mark is very important. Then only you get the accurate concentration of the solution. Okay. So far, any questions? Are you all clear?
Teacher,
Yes.
why we use pipette for dilution, not burette?
Students, pipette, we want to draw the solution. We want to take the exact amount of solution. Then you want to dilute, must use pipette. Cannot use burette. Burette is only used for neutralization. Reaction with acid and alkali, only we use burette. Understand or not? Clear? You want to take the solution, you want to dilute it, you must use pipette. Okay.
Okay,
So
teacher.
now we go for neutralization. Now, when we go for neutralization, you know already the reaction just now. Acid will react with alkali or base, will form salt and water, right? Okay. Please kindly record this. This is very important. Copy down now. You must know the type of indicator. Actually, very commonly used is phenolphthalein. Students, make sure you know how to spell phenolphthalein. If you wrongly spell the name of phenolphthalein, you will be losing mark. So make sure focus on the spelling. Second, you must know the color change. Phenolphthalein in acid and neutral will be colorless. Only in alkaline will be pink. So you must know the color of the respective indicator in the certain solutions so that you can determine the color of the endpoint of neutralization correctly. Another commonly used is methyl orange. So please focus on phenolphthalein and methyl orange. And other than these two, make sure you know about universal indicator. These are the three indicators will be questioned for SPM. So make sure you know the color change. Okay. Now we go for acid-base titration. For acid-base titration, any calculation involving acid in reaction with base. They ask you to calculate the molarity or volume of acid or alkali. Kindly use this formula MAVA over MBVB equals to A over B. You no need to do the step 1, step 2, step 3. No need to do a very detailed calculation. Do a very shortcut calculation using this. You know what is MA? Molarity of the acid, volume of the acid, divide with the molarity of the base or alkali and the volume equivalent to the A. C, based on the balanced chemical equation, what's the mole ratio for acid? You put it up that A divide with the B, mole ratio for alkali. Okay, shall we do one question? Go for question number 13. Try to do it by yourself now. See whether you can get it done or not. Try to do this. When you read, you have to be carefully read and determine the MA, VA, MB, VB. All of you can see the question?
Can, teacher.
Okay. So as you can read the question, what is the volume of 0.5 molar sulfuric acid? You can see 0.5 mole per dm cube. Then you should know already this is not volume. This must be M. Molarity, sulfuric acid. So this should be Ma. Understand? Required to neutralize 25 cm cube. Can you see cm cube? This must be V. But V for what? 25 cm cube of sodium hydroxide. Sodium hydroxide is base, alkali. And then this is 0.1. This must be molarity for sodium hydroxide is a base. So Mb. Make sure you determine the values correctly. And then only you do MaVa over MbVb equivalent to A over B. Okay, now look at the value of A. Do you have anything here? No, that means A equals to 1. And then sodium hydroxide, the B equals to 2. Can you see here 2? So now go and substitute. Do you know the MA? 0.5 times with, do you know the VA? That is what they ask you to find, right? So you're going to find the VA. Divide with, look at the MB, 0.1 times with VB, 25, equivalent to A, 1 over 2. Press your calculator now. 0.1 times with 25 divide with 0.5 times 2. So kindly find the answer. What's the answer you get? Students, when you press your calculator, what's the answer you get?
2.5, teacher.
So the answer will
2.5
be.
C.
So are you clear now how to do for neutralization calculations? So the very important here, make sure you determine the MA, VA, MB, VB correctly. A is used it for acid, B you use it for alkali or base. Okay, so now we move on to the next part of it. Oh, okay, that's all for pH acid base. I just focus to acid base only here. So these are the parts you have to be careful for acid base. Any questions so far? Are you clear? Any questions regarding acid base? I haven't moved on to salt yet, only acid base. Okay, I would like to see some responses from you. Are you clear with acid base? The part you have to focus. So now, let's go to carbon compound. Okay, when we talk about carbon compound, right, what are the things you have to focus to? First thing, you must be focused on the definition. What type of definition you should know? Saturated, unsaturated, hydrocarbon. These are the very famous terms they will ask you to define. What is saturated hydrocarbon? What is unsaturated hydrocarbon? What is hydrocarbon? Okay, make sure you know that. And then you must know, we have how many types of hydrocarbon, students? Hydrocarbon. We have how many type of hydrocarbon? Hello? Hey, you're going to sit for your SPM already. Kindly respond in the chat. How many type of hydrocarbon we have? Yes, Danish have given the answer. Alkane, alkene, alkyne. Remember, hydrocarbon means the carbon compounds which only consists of carbon atom and hydrogen atom only. Okay, so for hydrocarbon we have 3. Alkane, alkene, alkyne. Okay, now for non-hydrocarbon, what are the non-hydrocarbons you have learned?
Alcohol and carboxylic.
Only carboxylic acid.
Ester.
Alcohol and carboxylic acid, only that.
Ester.
Ester. Remember, alcohol, carboxylic acid, and ester, they are non-hydrocarbons because they not only have carbon and hydrogen, they have other elements beside it, like oxygen and so on. Okay. Now, you must know the functional group. You must be able to name the compound, draw the compound, and then what is isomer? What is isomer? Definition for isomer, you have to know. What is isomer, students?
Same formula but different structure.
They have same what? They have same what, different what?
Same molecular formula but different structural formula.
Remember, the molecular formula same. Structural formula is different. That's for isomers. And then you have to focus on the chemical reaction. So when we talk about chemical reaction, for essay, please focus on dehydration and esterification. Make sure you know the procedure for dehydration and esterification. For apparatus setup, make sure you know how to draw dehydration setup. And then you must able to differentiate the solution given based on the chemical reactions. Let's say they give you they know the solution is one is carboxylic acid, one is alcohol, another one is, let's say, alkane, but they have missed out the label. They ask you to differentiate among it and identify which one is the carboxylic acid, which one is alkane, and so on. For this type of question, you have to use a chemical reactions to differentiate them. Okay, so now let's look at the first one. As I told you, definition. Students, you want to copy down? Quickly copy down. Okay. Now, hydrocarbon. The keyword, compounds. And then you must say hydrogen atom. And carbon atoms. The word only important. If you don't write the word only, you will lose your mark. Okay, hydrocarbon must be compound, consists of hydrogen atom and carbon atoms only. For saturated hydrocarbon, so you will define hydrocarbon first lah. Understand? And then you have to say the carbon atoms for saturated carbon atoms are held by single bond only. So unsaturated, the difference is consists at least one double or triple bond between the carbon atoms. So make sure you know how to define correctly hydrocarbon, saturated hydrocarbon, unsaturated hydrocarbon. For isomers, we use the word molecules, not compound, remember. Okay, isomers are molecules which have same molecular formula but different structural formula. So these are the part you have to be focused on definition. Okay, here, Lavender, you ask each of the two or more compounds with the same formula but different arrangement of the atoms in the molecule and different properties. Lavender, this is the definition you give for isomers. If this is the definition you're going to give for isomers, you're going to lose your mark. Okay, isomers, this is the one I'm showing you. That's the definition for it. How to identify the isomers? Most of the students get confused. They see different arrangement. They say, oh, different structural formula. Cannot. You have to name the structure. If you name, you get different name, then only they are isomers. If you name, you are getting the same name, then they are not isomers. Don't get cheated with the arrangement. Okay. How to identify the isomers? You check the molecular formula same. And then to find out the different structural formula, you have to name the compound. If you name the compound, you are getting different name, then only the isomers. Don't get cheated by its look. Okay, please name it. If you get different name, then only the isomers. Okay, like now, look at this. First question, SPM 0516. Kindly respond in your chat now. Which of the following formula is unsaturated hydrocarbon? Kindly respond in the chat. So the keyword, yes, any problem? The keyword here, unsaturated hydrocarbon. So you must know hydrocarbon, only H and C, right? Unsaturated means must have carbon double bond or carbon triple bond. These are the rules for it. So go and look. So the moment you see O there, you can cancel it because O is not hydrocarbon ready. So you see other elements beside carbon and hydrogen, you can cancel it ready. So you can cancel off B, you can cancel off C because they have other than carbon and hydrogen. And then you narrow down your scope. You see it's unsaturated, must have double bond. You see your carbons, how the carbons are linked. If it's unsaturated, must at least one double bond, right? So the answer will be A. If it's D, that is saturated. Okay, so this is the method you have to follow lah. Break down. Make sure you analyze carefully and identify the answer. Okay, now this one. Which compound is a saturated hydrocarbon? What's the answer? Let's do a quick revision on this. As I told you, we have saturated and unsaturated hydrocarbons, right? So saturated hydrocarbons are alkane. Unsaturated hydrocarbons got two. What are they? Alkene and alkyne. So remember, alkene single bond, alkene must be double bond, alkyne triple bond. Okay, so make sure you know this. And then to determine the name, you know alkene, all the name will end up with A and E. Alkene will be E and E. If you see Y and E, then is alkyne. So they ask for saturated, so you see for A and E. Get it? Now, say the meaning of carbon compound. Okay, what is carbon compound? Carbon compound means compound that contain carbon as their constituent element. This is another definition you must know. Okay, this is very important, students. You must know all the homologous series, because in carbon compounds we have 3 saturated homologous series for hydrocarbons, and the other not saturated hydrocarbon. This is the 3 homologous series for hydrocarbon. These 3 for non-hydrocarbons. And then you must know the general formula. Okay, if let's say the question asks you to write or state the general formula, you just write CnH2n plus 2. Don't give value for the n. You know why? If you write the value of n wrongly, but your formula is correct, it will affect. Constituent, because I always use English with constituent alas. Wait, I get for you the. Anyone in using bahasa, you can help out constituent. Mengandungi unsur karbon sebagai salah satu unsur jusuknya. Okey. Untuk carbon compound, saya bacakan sebatian yang mengandungi unsur karbon sebagai salah satu unsur jusuknya. Salah satu unsur jusuknya. If that is constituent. Okay. Now, for alkane, make sure you know CnH2n plus 2. Don't give the value of n. Jangan. Kalau you bagi nilai n dengan salah, maka you akan dapat salah lah. Dia akan menjejaskan. Komponen utama ataupun salah satu komponen dalam sebatian itu. Not component. Tak semestinya komponen utama. Carbon compound means if the compound have carbon ready, then it should be carbon compound. Tak kisahlah carbon dia higher percentage or lower percentage. The moment there's a presence of carbon inside it, then we call it carbon compound. Okay. Now, where I stop? Alkane, alkyne. So when you write your general formula, don't give the value of N. For ester also, don't give the value of N and M. Just write as it is now. And then you must know the functional group lah. If the question asks you to name functional group, make sure you write carbon-carbon single bond for alkane. Don't go and write C-C. That's wrong already. If they just say state the functional group, then the choice is yours. You want to name or you want to draw. Okay, so make sure you know how to name the functional group and also how to draw the functional group correctly lah. So far, okay? This part is important. Make sure you know. Other than that, naming of the compound. Okay, for the naming of the compound, for every compound, we can split them to two parts, the head and the tail. I will call it as head and tail. The head is given based on number of carbon. So you must know the prefix to be used for the head. If the carbon got 2, then the head name will be at. Okay. If it's 4, will be built. So you must know lah, the head name based on number of carbons. The tail name follow the name of the family. If it's alkene, A-N-E. If it's alkene, E-N-E. Alcohol, O-L. And remember, for alcohol, students, you will derive the name from alkene. You will get the full name of alkene, take out the E out, put in O-L. Okay? Don't just take the carbon and put O-L. That's wrong already. Can you understand what I'm talking about? For example, let's say carbon 3 lah. If it's carbon 3, alkene, what's the answer? What's the name of the substance? Student? Carbon 3.
Propane.
You see, carbon 3, prop, because carbon 3, the prefix is prop, and the ending must be A-N-E, propane lah. If it's alkene, again, it will be prop, correct? And will be E-N-E, propane. But if it's alcohol, how you spell it? The name will be how?
Propanol.
Yeah,
Propanol.
you have to take from alkene. Remember, you have to take from N, take out the E out. Then you get propanol. Okay? If it's a carboxylic acid, I put the functional group lah. Same thing. You will take from here also, take out the E. It will be propan. So carboxylic acid must end up with OIC acid. So it becomes propanoic acid. If it's ester, then it will be propanoid. All come from here. Take out the E, put it the ending. And then remember, when you are doing the naming for alkene, alcohol, you have to do the number for the position of the double bond for alkene. For here OH, you have to do the numbering. So before, in between of this, you have to do the numbering lah. Where's the location? Okay? Can?
Cikgu kalau yang satu,
Apa dia?
kalau propan satu ol ke atau propanol?
Kalau satu pun you kena jawab juga propan 1 all, propan 2 all. Sebab kita kena tentukan kedudukan dia. Walaupun dia satu, you kena label satu. Propan 1 all, propan 2 all. Jangan tulis propanol. Faham ya? Mesti tentukan kedudukan double bond dengan OH dia. Carboxylic acid, no problem. No position. Okay? And ester also no worries, no position. The positioning, you only have to be careful with alkene and alcohol. Okay, boleh ke? Nama? Ada apa-apa masalah?
No, teacher, can understand.
Okay. So please do more practices lah. From your paper 1, you can check it out. Next, we are moving for chemical properties. Okay, for the chemical properties, I prefer to do my own diagram. We do our overall reaction. Now, we do between alkene, alcohol. Okay, we do between these three first. Now, alkene to alkane. What reaction? Remember, alkene to alkane, we add hydrogen. At the double bond, you add hydrogen. Okay, you can see the word hydrogen here. So your reaction must be full name lah. Hydrogen. Can you see that? Nation. Hydrogenation. And then you must know the rules applied for this reaction. 100 degrees Celsius, you will use nickel or platinum. The condition required. And then we go for alkene to alcohol. Alkene to alcohol, because you're adding OH, so remember you add water. Water, if you like a body, you enough water, hydration. Not enough water, we call dehydration. So add water is called hydration. I hope you're clear with this. You see hydrogen? Hydrogen. So must have full name, hydrogenation. If you see water, hydration. Don't get confused. Okay, the condition for hydration is okay, what's the condition for hydration? What's the temperature? Yes.
300 degrees Celsius, phosphoric acid, and 60 atm.
Okay, concentrated phosphoric acid. Remember you mentioned concentrated phosphoric acid. We still use 180 degrees Celsius, and then the atmosphere pressure must be
Teacher, 300 degrees Celsius.
yes, sorry. The temperature must be 300, the pressure must be 60, yeah? Okay, this must be 300 degrees Celsius, 60 atmosphere pressure. And then there's another backway reaction. From alcohol, you can prepare alkene. That means you are eliminating out water. You take out the water out, you go back to alkene. So forward is hydration. You take out, you call dehydration. Okay, for dehydration, we use porcelain chips. Or you can use aluminium oxide. Now, dehydration, students, you have to be focused in the diagram for drawing. We use boiling tube. Remember, not test tube. And then, inside the boiling tube, you'll put glass wool soaked with what? Soaked with the alcohol, whatever alcohol they give you. And then, in between, make sure you draw properly. You will arrange the porcelain chips. Okay, this must be the porcelain chips. Okay, you will heat up the porcelain chips. Then, you will deliver the gas into where? Hello? You will deliver the gas into where? Make sure this test tube is supported lah when you draw. Make sure you draw it properly lah. And then make sure it's in. Then here will be the alkene gas collected. And the very important, make sure your boiling tube is supported. You don't need to draw the whole retort stand. You just show the clamping part. So make sure you draw it properly. Yeah. Get it? Clear? So we have learned how many reactions now? 1, 2, 3. Are you clear with the 3 reactions?
Yes.
These are the famous reactions. And please focus on dehydration. You must know how to draw. You must know how to write the procedure. Procedure can come up for essay. Can? Students. So can I move on to the next?
Can, teacher.
Okay, next is alkene, alcohol. I put like this carboxylic acid. Okay, alkene to alcohol, we add water, hydration. Alcohol to alkene, we eliminate water, dehydration. We learned already just now. Now we go for this. Alcohol to carboxylic acid, what we do? Can you see the O? You must know for oxidation, when you write your equation also, we use the O like this, you know. So this is called what reaction? Oxidation. So what we use? Yes, student, what's that? Hello? So we use oxidation. For oxidation, you use KMNO for acidified potassium manganese 7, or you can use K2Cr2O7, that is potassium dichromate 6. You must know the color change. If potassium manganese 7, color change will be what? Hello? For oxidation, alcohol to carboxylic acid using potassium manganese 7, what's the color change?
Purple to colorless, teacher.
Purple to colorless. If it's a potassium dichromate 6, what's the color change?
Orange to hijau.
Orange to hijau. Orange to green lah. Okay, color you confuse mana satu datang dulu tengok O. So orange datang dulu. Orange to green. Okay, that's the color change you must know. Now, alcohol can react with carboxylic acid. The process is called esterification. For esterification, what you need? What's the catalyst we use for esterification? Concentrated sulfuric acid. Okay, so when alcohol combined with carboxylic acid, what's the product form? Ester. Clear now with the reactions? These are the reactions you have to focus for carbon compounds. So just now we learned 3 already. So this will be the 4th reaction, and this is the 5th reaction. Please concentrate on these 5 reactions, their conditions and the product form, and you should be able to write the equations. These are the things you have to focus to. And kindly please focus on dehydration. Focus on hydration and also esterification, dehydration and esterification procedures for acid. Okay. Now, this for esterification. For esterification, students, if they ask what's the physical property or special property for ester, there's only one. Use fruity smell or pleasant smell. That's enough already. Or sweet smell, sweet pleasant smell. Okay. These are the properties for ester. If you write less dense than water, also okay. But very common, we use a fruity smell or pleasant smell. And anyone having problem of drawing structure for ester? Naming ester? Drawing ester and naming ester, any problem you all have? Need help? Kindly raise up your hand so that I can show to you. You all okay with it? Then we'll move on to the next. So carbon compound, you know what to focus, ready? As I told you just now, the reactions and all that. Then make sure you know how to. How many of you need help for drawing, writing equation, for esterification? All can, I don't see any response. That means all can do it. Okay. Now, final what? Thermochemistry. For thermochemistry, you have to focus on definition, energy level diagram, energy profile diagram. What's the difference between energy level diagram, energy profile diagram? This is a very common mistake students do. They can't differentiate between what is profile diagram, what is level diagram. And then you must know how to calculate the heat of reactions.
Teacher.
What?
We need help to draw the
To draw what?
The structure.
Structure for ester, is it?
Yes. All people raise their hand.
Yes, sir. How come I didn't see? Okay, sorry. So now can you see my slide?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So now let's see. I give you one example. Ethanol reacts with propanoic acid. This is the reaction, and you are required to write the name of the ester. So can anyone tell me, or please post in the chat, I think. You can post in the chat, what's the name of the ester? I would like to see the name of esters. Students, are you writing the name? Aiman? Aiman, dari mana you dapat nama ini? Saya pun terkejut. Wow. Sangat dahsyat nama yang diberikan itu. Okay, students, how to name for ester? Remember, ini adalah alcohol. Yang ini adalah part carboxylic acid. Betul? Okay. For the name of ester, remember, alcohol part come first, then only carboxylic part. Okay, ester mesti ada dua nama. So, for the alcohol, ethanol, you have to change to alkyl group. So, alcohol now, ethanol sekarang akan menjadi ethyl. Dapat? So, remember, untuk ester, nama dia, alkohol kena datang dulu, belakang dia carboxylic acid. Untuk nama alkohol, you kena tukar kepada kumpulan alkyl dulu. So, ethanol, like now, become ethyl. Now, for carboxylic acid, you have to change to OIC acid akan bertukar menjadi OATE. So, sekarang dia akan menjadi propanoate. Boleh faham ke? So, ini adalah nama untuk ester. Can you get it? Naming okay? Naming okay tak?
Okay, teacher.
Okay.
Now we go for drawing. For the structure, Okay, apa yang saya selalu ask my students to do is you draw the carboxylic acid first. Okay, even like now, let me go back to this first. Okay, propanoic acid kan? Now, what's the formula for ethanol, girls, students? C2H5OH. Propanoic acid. Ingat ya, bila nak tulis formula untuk propanoic acid, prop must be 3, tapi you kena kurangkan 1. So, dia akan menjadi C2H5COOH. Dan bila you nak gabungkan untuk ester, nama ester dia, apa yang you buat, you cut off the H from the carboxylic acid, OH from the alcohol. So, I always will call my students to write the carboxylic acid first. C2H5COO. Then alcohol ni you bawa ke belakang. C2H5. Mengapa? Supaya mudah untuk lukis. Dan bila you nak lukis, you mula dengan bridge dia. Ini yang saya panggil dia bridge. So carbon double bond O. You lukis bridge ni dulu, kemudian you tengok. Okay, hadapan bridge tu ada berapa carbon? 2 kan? You letakkan 2 carbon dulu. Belakang bridge dia ada lagi berapa carbon? 2 lagi kan? You sambungkan lagi 2 carbon. Dan pastikan setiap carbon mesti ada berapa ikatan? 4. So, you letaklah 4 ikatan bagi setiap carbon. And then last, fill in the blank. Isikan hidrogen. Maka, you dah habis lukis ester dia. So, this is how you draw the structure. Always start with carboxylic acid. Walaupun di sekolah cikgu ajar lukis alkohol dan carboxylic acid and all that, right? So, dia kata daripada alkohol, H yang keluar, carboxylic acid, OH yang keluar. Ini akan mengelirukan anda. So, follow my method now. It will be much easier for you. Carboxylic acid, you take out the H only, put the carboxylic acid first. Draw the structure of carboxylic acid first. At the back, take out the OH from the alcohol and put the alcohol at the back. So that you get the correct structure drawing. And then want to label also same. Want to label, you cut off after the bridge lah. You see here got 2 carbon, so that should be ethanol. You see front got 3 carbon, that should be carboxylic acid, propanoic acid. Very easily you can identify the name of carboxylic acid and alcohol. Are you clear now? Do you understand now how to draw, how to name? Okay. So, now 9:50 already. So, now we go for thermochemistry. I go quickly lah. First, definition. Setiap heat of precipitation, displacement dan sebagainya, pastikan you tahu definition dia. And I nak tunjuk dekat sini beza antara level diagram and profile diagram. Okay, if it's energy level diagram, you nampak bentuk tangga. Boleh nampak tak tangga? Satu aksis saja you ada. Aksis dia adalah aksis untuk energy. Okay, dia sama ada tangga naik atau tangga turun. That is called energy level diagram. If it's energy profile diagram, you nampak bukit. Boleh bezakan tak? Okay, kalau profile diagram, you mesti ada aksis Y dan X. Dia bukan ada satu paksi ya, dia ada 2 paksi. Dia ada paksi energy dan direction of the reaction. Itu mesti ada untuk profile diagram. Kalau profile diagram bentuk bukit you nak lukis, maka itu sama ada bukit naik ataupun bukit turun lah ini dipanggil. So, this one is called profile diagram. Okay, let me show you briefly on the differences. Okay, chemical reactions, kita ada exothermic, kita ada endothermic. Betul? Okey, kalau exo, delta H kena apa? Negatif ke positif? Exo dia keluarkan, remember exhaust, panas. Dia mesti keluarkan haba, negatif. Kalau endo, delta H dia positif. Okey, saya nak anda ingatkan teknik ini ya. Kalau negatif, panah kena turun. Kalau delta H positif, panah naik. Boleh? Okey, katakan sekarang saya nak lukiskan energy level diagram. Ada satu paksi saja, pastikan you label E. Cukup. You label E pun dah cukup dah. Faham? Itu adalah energy. Okey, sekarang kita nak lukis. So, this thing, ini akan menjadi satu panduan arah untuk anda lukiskan energy level diagram. So, exothermic dia mesti turun kan? Lukis di sini turun. Kalau endothermic dia naik kan? Lukis di sini naik. Okey, mana awal panah tu? Atas kan? So, this must up and come down. Here, the level start from bottom, go to up. The difference here, you write your delta H how much. So, this must be your reactant. You write down all your reactant. This must be your product. Pastikan you lukis dengan betul. Because drawing of energy level diagram, you're already getting 2 marks or 3 marks sometimes. So make sure you can easily get the 2 marks. So reactant, product. Faham tak macam mana nak lukis energy level diagram? Tak payah nak peningkan kepala. Tengok saja delta H ataupun exo ke endo. Kalau exo dia bebaskan haba, dia kena turun. Bila dia turun, dia mula dari atas pergi ke bawah. Bila delta H endothermic, dia serap haba, absorb heat. So it must goes up. So it start from the bottom, it end up to the top. Okay. So this is energy level diagram. Very easily you can construct. Kalau profile diagram, senang saja. Pelajar, dia datang daripada energy level diagram, you tarik daripada reactant naik bukit turun saja. Kalau daripada, dia mesti mula daripada reactant. You tarik dari reactant naik turun. Itu saja. You tambah bukit dekat sana, dah jadi energy profile diagram. Okay, energy level diagram, you hanya dapat delta H. Kalau energy profile diagram, daripada level reactant pergi ke puncak tu, itu adalah activation energy. You tahu EA itu apa? Activation energy. So, hanya energy profile diagram, dia akan menunjukkan activation energy dengan delta H. You have the heat of reaction. Kalau energy level diagram, you only have heat of reaction. No activation energy. So, ingat, kalau profile diagram mesti bukit. Bukit tu mesti mula daripada reactant pergi ke produk. Reactant tu kena naik. Reactant bukit kena naik. Then pergi ke produk. So, for here, you get like this lah. Your profile diagram. And make sure you have two-way axis lah. For here, energy profile diagram will be from the bottom, go up like this. This is your energy profile diagram. So, your EA, this is your EA. The difference here is your delta H. This will come out for your paper 1. You should know how to calculate. Here, the EA level is here. Reactant to the peak is your activation energy. The difference between reactant to the product, that is your delta H. Can you see the levels difference? Faham ke? Can you get it? So this part is very commonly questioned, so you should know how to do it. You should be able to draw, you should be able to calculate the activation energy and heat of reactions. And then you should be able to differentiate lah. if they ask you to differentiate between two energy level diagram, these are the points you have to consider. First, apa yang kurang faham, Fatihah? Fatihah, apa yang you kurang faham tadi?
Yang bonggol naik atas tu tenaga pengaktifan ke? Cikgu.
Yang mana?
Yang warna
Because too
hijau
many
tu.
things here. Okay, sekejap. Saya tunjuk dekat awak. Ini yang energy kan, for profile diagram kan? Dia mesti ada dua pasti, betul tak?
Suara perempuan ni
Katakan
cool tu. Aku suka suara perempuan ni.
saya nak buat untuk endo. Kalau endo, delta H dia mesti positif, betul? Kalau positif, arrow dia mesti naik. So your arrow will go up. Your reactant will be here. Your product going to be here. Because this is energy profile diagram, kita tak lukis arrow. Kita lukis bukit. Jadi you padamkan arrow awak, you lukis bukit dia. Bukit dia mesti naik dan turun. Dapat tak? Dia mesti ada puncak. Puncak tu mesti mula daripada reaktan. Tak boleh mula daripada produk. Dia naik daripada reaktan, turun dekat produk. And then your level, beza antara aras produk dengan reaktan itu adalah delta H. Daripada paras reaktan ke puncak. Paras reaktan ke puncak itu adalah activation energy. Ini untuk endo. Boleh faham ke sekarang, Fatihah?
Boleh.
Okay. Untuk exo pun samalah. You tengok arrow awak akan turun kan? So daripada reaktan kena naik bukit, turun dekat produk. Jadi paras reaktan ke puncak itu sentiasa untuk activation energy. Beza aras reaktan dengan produk itu adalah delta H. Ingat itu. And then kalau nak bandingkan antara energy profile diagram ataupun level diagram, you bandingkan dari segi jenis tindak balas. Cakap yang mana exo, yang mana endo. Yang kedua, bezakan antara perbezaan antara haba. Sama ada haba dibebas ataupun diserap. And then you cakap pasal kandungan tenaga haba yang dibebaskan. Ikut kepada delta H. When you talk about total energy level content to the product, right? You see reactant is higher or product is higher. You have to compare in that way. And then you talk about the quantity of the heat absorbed or released. Remember when you talk about quantity of heat absorbed or released, the unit you must use only kilojoule. Don't use per mole. Don't use mole. Only use kilojoule. Amma, ada soalan. Alkena dan alkana, prosedur tambah bromin. Ya, you kena tahu. Alkana dan alkena boleh dibezakan dengan menggunakan air bromin maupun potassium magnate 7. Hanya alkena akan bertindak balas, akan decolorize the brown bromine water or purple acidified potassium magnate 7. Because reason kalau dia suruh terangkan, you cakap lah. Alkene is unsaturated hydrocarbon where there's a carbon double bond exists, will undergoes addition reaction with bromine or potassium magnate 7. Whereas alkene is saturated hydrocarbon, does not undergoes addition reaction. Amma, faham tak? So you have to bezakan. Yang mana saturated, yang mana unsaturated. Kalau saturated, dia tidak mengalami tindak balas penambahan, addition reaction lah. If it's unsaturated, yes, it will undergoes. Single bond tu, okay. Ini pun ada caranya nak hafal ya. Kalau saturated, you nampak tak perkataan satu tu? Maksudnya single lah, single bond. You nampak tak unsaturated? Satu tu maksudnya tak boleh lah single. Dia tak boleh single. Dia mesti double or triple. Saturated tu tepu. Unsaturated tu tak tepu. Tepu mesti satu. Tak tepu mesti double of this one. Okay, kejelagaan. Kejelagaan for alkene, percentage of carbon is higher compared to alkene. When the percentage of carbon is higher, will have more soot. How to calculate percentage of carbon? Let's say C2H4, C2H6. So here how you calculate 2 times 12, bilangan carbon bahagikan dengan jumlah molar mass dia. 2 kali 12 tambah 4 times 1. Please calculate, let me know what's the percentage. Untuk ni, berapa carbon ada? Peratus ni selalu kira berdasarkan kepada jumlah ya. It can be a percentage of nitrogen, a percentage of carbon, whatever percentage they ask you, you look what's the total number there. Like carbon now, 2 right? 2 times with the molar mass of it and divide with the whole molar mass of the compound. Yang ini you dapat 84. Mengapa dapat jawapan yang berbeza ya? Harish Dylan, are you there? C2H4, what you get? C2H4, what you get? Lavender, are you there? All of you get 85.71 ah. Saya ikut jawapan anda tau. Saya tak kira lagi. Now, C2H6. C2H6. Jingkiat, are you there? Can you turn on your mic? Jingkiat or anyone, kindly turn on your mic, please.
C2H6, 18.
C2H4, what you get?
Yes, this answer 85.71.
Okay, C2H6, what you get?
18.
80?
Yes.
Have you calculated? Are you getting 80?
Yes.
Yes.
You're getting 80, right?
Yes.
Okay, this is alkene. This is alkene. So who having higher percentage of carbon? Alkene yang ada higher percentage of carbon kan? Because of higher percentage of carbon by mass, you have to write higher percentage of carbon by mass. Remember, because this one have higher percentage of carbon by mass, thus it produce more soot. More soot because higher percentage. You have to show this calculation. Show the calculation and then write the explanation like this. Boleh ya? Okay, and then let's see what are the questions you all have. Aiman, kenapa guna KJ bila bandingkan haba terbebas? Okay. Bila cakap pasal haba sahaja, haba itu guna kilojoule. Ini untuk haba ya. When you talk about heat release or heat absorbed, the measurement is only kilojoule. When you talk about heat of reaction, for example, heat of precipitation, heat of displacement, heat of neutralization, then your unit must be kilojoule per mole. Okay. Now, ada lagi Emily Tan tanya, polymer, soap, detergent, structural formula perlu hafal ke? Okay, polymer tu, okay, let's say they do for you like this. Dia cakap ini adalah monomer yang menghasilkan polimer tu. Macam mana nak lukis polimer? Selalu saya ajak my student, you take this double bond one, you put the carbon first, then the double bond tu you buka ke tepi, then kurungkan. Only the position of the double bond you put it at the side. The rest of it you arrange, align it to the up or down to get the polymer structure. So for the structure, I don't think so. You have to remember, you have to memorize. You must know how to draw the polymer properly. Kalau yang ini adalah ethene, kalau polymer tambah saja perkataan poly, so become polyethene. So nama dia pun tak susah sangat if you know the method. You must know how to name the monomer correctly, then the polymer you should be able to get it. If they give you the polymer, you should know how to draw back the monomer. Apa yang buka tepi tu, you masukkan balik, you dapat double bond. Okay? And then for the soap and detergent, for the soap, you must know you have RCOO. Either it's going to be K or RCOO, and A is either going to be potassium or sodium soap. That's all. For the detergent, you see lah, if you have the SO and you have the cyclic, then that's the detergent already lah. You should know how to recognize it. Okay, clear? Any other questions?
Yes, teacher, I have a question.
Yes.
For haba penyesaran, kalau kita tukar logam yang lebih elektropositif, ada perubahan ke terhadap delta H?
Haba peneutralan. Haba peneutralan ke haba penyesaran?
Haba penyesaran.
Haba penyesaran, logam yang lebih elektropositif akan membebaskan lebih haba. So the more electropositive should have higher delta H.
Alright, thank you.
Perubahan haba dia lebih ya. Okay, any other? Cakap, cikgu tak dapat nampak. Apa dia Sugenten? Ada chance keluar prosedur, bedakan sebatian karbon, membedakan sifat kimia sebatian karbon. You tanya I tak tahulah sebab I bukan yang sediakan soalan. But what I share with you is the commonly question. Apa yang saya share hari ini adalah yang biasa keluar. So I cannot tell you what's coming out, what not coming out, because I'm not the panel who prepare the question. I can focus and tell you now what are the things you should focus to so that you can able to write your answer correctly. Memang sebab sifat kimia dengan tindak balas kimia tu memang betul lah. Kalau macam tu macam mana nak jawab? Aiman, are you there? No? Aiman, are you there? Kebesaran acid. So, what's your question now? Hello, Ducky. Students, can you hear me or not? Or am I lagging?
Yes, teacher.
Yes, teacher.
Yes,
We can
clear.
see you, teacher.
Yes, teacher.
Clear, right? Okay. Now, any other questions you all have beside it? So today we have done on carbon compounds and we have done mostly on acid base. Lah. So are you all clear with what you have studied today?
Teacher, for the
Yes.
compound or for the chemical substance like HCl, right? There's two types of name, which is acid hydrochloric and acid chloride. So which one used in which situation?
Acid hydrochloric. acid hydrochloric, not acid chlorida. Okay, you might get confused with the term. Let me show you. If it's acid, must be acid hydrochloric. Hydrogen chlorida is for gas. If HCl exists in a form of gas, it's still in a form of molecules, and the name will be hydrogen chloride. Hydrogen chloride gas.
So acid hydrochloric is when it's already diluted.
When it ionizes in water and produces the solution. That is called hydrochloric acid.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, if you have no questions, now, before you end, kindly scan this code. Go to this thing. Wait, I share in the chat. If after class or whatever you still want to communicate with me, you can communicate through this Padlet. I cannot. Are you able to get it in the chat or not?
No, teacher.
Have you got any link?
No, teacher.
Data. Okay, never mind. I share in the Telegram group. Is it okay? All of you in the Telegram group, right? So if you still have any question or what, you can share your questions, and I would like to get some feedback about our class in the Padlet. So I'll share the link in the Telegram group. Then you can communicate with me through there. Okay, so that's all for today. Thank you very much. All the best for your chemistry exam.
Thank you,
teacher.
Thank you, teacher.
Bye, teacher.
Thank you, teacher.
Thank you, tau.
Thank you, teacher.
Thank you,
Welcome.
teacher.
Thank you, teacher.